so it makes my job easier.
Right? Right?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. I am Shon Williams, aka Mr. President, and this is the Safe Room, where this is a space for entrepreneurs and business owners in Toronto to share their personal and professional stories. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a fantastic guest here today. Let's just say, like, we're gonna talk about hair, black hair. So I hope you're ready for the conversations because it's about to get real deep. And this person, she is born and raised in Toronto, and she's has deep Caribbean roots as a second generation Jamaican. Yes, Jamaica, stand up in the building. If there are any
Let's
Jamaicans
get
listening,
it.
this is the conversation for you. She has a passion for textured hair empowerment and started after she returned to her own natural coils after years of chemical straightening, and was inspired to share her journey of falling in love with her tightly coiled hair. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the one and only, the founder of Nyla's Coily World, Miss Venesse Lewis. Venesse, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Sean. I'm excited.
I'm excited too, man. I'm glad that we're having this conversation. I know it was just a couple weeks back. We were at an event and we did a little mini interview. It was like a prep interview. This is now the real
Right?
deal.
Exactly, exactly.
I love that. I love that. So, I mean, like I mentioned, we're going to talk a lot about your business. We're going to talk about black hair. I feel like this is a conversation I wanted to do for a while, but I didn't know who I wanted to reach out to. But, God works in a mysterious way where someone just comes in
Nice.
your life and just brings you in front for these conversations. So, I'm glad that you're here. We're definitely going to get into the nitty gritty of everything. So, before we get into all of that, ladies and gentlemen, for those who know, it's a main staple. We have to do it. It's the hot seat segment. Now, Venesse, I know you might hear the name and it might sound intimidating, but I promise you it's nothing too crazy, nothing too spicy. All I'm going to ask you is four simple questions, and I want you to answer them to your best abilities, okay?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Oh, all right. Perfect. Perfect. So let me just make sure I got my questions pulled up here. So the first question. So outside the work that you do, tell me something about yourself in one sentence.
I like to explore, whether it's traveling or food. I like new experiences. That is like huge to me. I can't stay stuck doing the same thing all the time. I need something new to feed me and energize me.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like exploring just anything in life is very important because it allows you to check out new things, find stuff about yourself that you may not know. So I super think that's important.
Exactly. The ongoing learning about yourself. Yeah, forever.
That I feel like for me personally, like it's hard because sometimes you think like, oh man, like you wake up, like what can I learn, or like what's something new I can pick up for myself, whether it's like a skill or even like accomplishing a task or overcoming a fear. It's something that you always question yourself. But I feel like overall, if you don't have that urge to explore, then I feel like you're not really living life
Ex-
to the fullest.
Exactly, exactly. Staying stagnant is like definitely not my thing. Yeah, definitely need to be out there trying some new things. Yeah.
Definitely. It's like if you're staying stagnant, we don't rock with you. You got to be a moving forward type of person.
Right? This is it. Exactly.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So going on to the second question now. This one, I'm very happy to ask this question because it kind of relates to what we're going to talk about later on. But what's the hardest hairstyle you've done for yourself or for a client?
Ooh. Okay, so I love braiding intricate styles, like really intricate designs. So I liked when my clients would challenge me with some new style. But one client asked me to braid H in his head, and poof, that one took me out. Okay, it wasn't quite the most even. I even had to discount him. I'm like, yeah, it's not my best work. I mean, he said he was fine with it, but I'm like, no, this is not it. So that one really took me out. And then I guess for my own hair, just like doing box braids, but like small braids. Like one time I was dead set on doing some small braids. It took me like 3 days, like just the parting alone on my own. Like, yeah, I don't know who told me to do that.
Yeah, like I can only imagine just like, hey, Venise, can you hook a brother up? Just put the letter H just flat on my head at the top. It's just I honestly I could not do that myself. So, but I can imagine just the process of doing that is just it's
Yeah, yeah.
very like tedious.
You almost have to like map it out, like, and it's really a process of like planning. Like I've done hearts and stars and other sorts of designs, but something about the H, because you got to like it has to make sure it connects, and yeah, it has to be in one braid, and it's you get me though,
Make sure it
right?
connects. Yeah, it's got to connect. If it don't connect, then it's like what is it
What
really?
is
It's
it
like
exactly? Exactly.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, just make sure, guys, if you're getting a if you're getting a hairstyle like that, make sure it connects. Okay, we don't want to have no broken H's and everything like that. The H can't be silent in your hair. It can't be
Woo!
silent.
It can't be silent.
I feel like I'm just ribbing now. I think we should move on to the next question. Okay. So number 3, an interesting fact that you rarely share about yourself.
Hmm. I would say that entrepreneurship for me was not part of the plan at all. You asked me like 3 years ago if I would ever be doing my own sort of business, doing it like absolutely not. Like I'm the kind of person I like to be behind the scenes, being told what to do by my employer, making my little paycheck and go about my business. So this has been a ride for me, taking on this platform and building Naya's Coily World. So yeah, I don't really admit that too often, but like this is never something I would dream of myself even just a few short years ago.
Wow, that's very interesting. I feel like that take alone is very original because usually everyone actually kind of gives like, a little unknown fact about themselves. Maybe it's like a hidden talent or maybe something they used to do in the past, but they never really shared with anyone. But I think that's the first time you've actually shared something along the likes of, I didn't want to be like in entrepreneurship. I wanted to, just kind of work a 9 to 5 and just, get my money, just kind of be very
That's it.
normal. So I feel like that's a very interesting way of how you kind of answer that question because again, I've never really heard that from anyone else. I've heard a lot of crazy answers from some people, but I feel like that one is just kind of like it's the most real one, and like I can appreciate that.
Thank you, thank you. But in terms of talents, I will share another one. I in my 20s, I was really into cake decorating. I kind of stopped because like it's just a lot of work and I hated doing the dishes after. But I love that. And people would tell me like I should do it for like for business, but I just enjoy doing it for like my family and friends. It was really, really fun.
Okay, that is
Hmm.
very interesting. What would you say like was the best cake or like your favorite cake to make or decorate or anything like that?
Oh, like I made like all kinds of things. So I would make like animals out of the fondant. I made a car cake for my friend's boyfriend once. I made a soccer cake. I would make like on top of cupcakes like little rings or like really intricate stuff. Like it would take me like days to form it, but it was like artwork, and that's what I loved. I'm a creative person, so yeah.
Okay. So you was like that. It wasn't just like basic cake. It's like I'm giving you like art and food at the same time. So
Exactly, exactly.
okay, I'm listen. I might have to hit you up later on in the future. Just let you know my birthday's coming up soon. My birthday is right around the corner, so I might be like,
How is
"Hey, yo,
it?
Venice, like I'm gonna need you to do a cake the shape of a microphone, just for like my butt." Nah, I'm just playing.
Oh, I love that.
Or maybe I'm sparking it. Maybe I'm sparking
Don't
inspiration.
get
Who
me
knows? Who knows?
started. Yeah, I love that.
We'll talk. We'll talk. We'll talk. Anyway, so let's get on to the final question. What is your personal safe room? So, what's a safe space? It could be physical or mental that allows you to be your authentic self.
You know what? It's those people that I can call on a drop of a dime just to like, talk about my thoughts or like share frustration. So I really have a great support system, my family, my friends, but also prayer. Like you can't say enough about prayer, right? Just putting your hands down to God and just really asking for what you need and just hoping that he provides what you can to get what you want, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like with prayer, like a lot of people, they'll be going through certain things in life, and sometimes like you just have to like talk to God, just pray to Him, and a lot of us also assume that once we pray, like the blessings is gonna come immediately. But again, I think it's just having that patience as well. Learn to
Mm-hmm.
practice patience every single day. Because again, we are always living in a world of like instant gratification where we just
Yep.
want something immediately, and we never really reap the labor of our work. Really taking in like, man, I've been really doing this for a long time. Again, I've been doing this for 4 years, and like I'm now on the radio, which by the way was never a goal of mine. That wasn't something I wanted immediately, like within the first 5 years, but it just happened because like I just kept praying to God, saying, just help me to like bless my podcast, bless my show, just see it evolve and over time. Like I'm grateful for that. And I feel like, for those who are out there, if you do pray, just know that just keep praying, but also, practice patience, wait on the Lord. When
Yes.
you wait on the Lord, then
Yes.
you will see the benefits start to show. It may not happen now, it may not happen a week from now, but it will definitely come once you just when you practice to be faithful to him. So
That's exactly it. That's the key right there. I love how you said that.
man, this conversation's turned into a Sunday sermon in here. I love it. I love it.
Preach.
All right. Well, those are all the questions for the hot seat. And now we're going to get into the main questions. But if you guys are just tuning in right now, you are listening to the Safe Room here on Love Bay Radio. We're here with Venesse Lewis, the founder of Nyla's Coily World. We're going to talk more about her business. We're going to talk a little bit more onto black hair. So I'm super excited for this conversation. Now, before I actually get into the first main question, I actually thought of a question like while we were getting ready, and I'm a little upset on myself that I didn't write this question down. But I want to ask you, Venesse, to start off the name of your business. Why Nyla's Coily World? Like, what about that you said, you know what, like this is why I want to, or this is what I want to name my business for?
So that's funny. I've been getting that question a lot. I don't know if I have a great answer. So just to correct you, sorry, it's Naya. And so
Naya.
the
Okay.
yeah, yeah. And some people think it's Nia. So I'm like, did I spell it wrong? Like, but anyway, it's Naya's Coily World. And so the book, so Naya's Coily World is the brand name, but the book title is actually longer. It's called Naya Hatton. Let's get those coils crowned in satin. And I'll keep explaining. Bear with me. So basically, as a braider, I would get a lot of clients coming to me with like elastics in their hair, and it was driving me crazy. I'm like, this is, you can't be putting elastics in your hair. It's ripping out your hair. Like, you need to use satin scrunchies. So I'm like, so when I got the idea to write the book, I'm like, I want to have satin be like the thing about the book, so people are educated on using proper tools in their hair. So I knew I wanted in the title to say satin. So then I came up with Hatton, that's the girl's name, to rhyme with satin. And then I needed a short name to go with Hatton, and somehow Naya came up. So just Naya Hatton, let's get those coils crowned in satin. And then, bear with me. So
Mm.
then I'm like, when I created my Instagram account, I'm like, well, I can't put the whole title in my Instagram name. So then I just came up with Naya's Coily World. And then I'm like, hold on, I like that. So that became the brand, the logo and everything. And so yeah, it's sometimes a little bit by accident how things come up, but like I really it worked really well.
Absolutely. I feel like for 90% of us entrepreneurs, the way we get our names for our businesses, it's really the most random stuff. It's just like, I don't know, like, what are we feeling? Like, is it Nyla's Coily World? Are we going to call it that? Like, how does it get from A to B? Like, even for my show, like, getting the safe room, like, you think it would have been easy. It was a struggle. It was just an absolute struggle. But I feel like,
Really?
yeah, it was. But it's not about me. It's about you. I don't want to talk about myself today. That will be, I have many time to talk about myself. I think for you, like that's very interesting. Again, how you said you had clients coming in and like they had elastic in their hair, and you kind of identified that and kind of turned it into, again, with your book, which we're definitely going to talk about later on as well. And how it's like, okay, what rhymes with satin? Like, how am I going to make sure everything kind of goes? Like, it's the little things that I feel are super important to the overall landscape of how a business runs, including your business. So I wanted to ask that just before we got
Exactly.
started.
No, I love that question. Thank you.
Of course, of course, of course. All right. So to continue on, so what was like the mission statement that you wanted to push for Naya's Coily World that really spoke to you and to people who were hearing your business for your first time? Because I'm trying to remember the first time that I actually like, I guess, saw you online. I don't remember, but I remember seeing you. I'm like, oh, okay. So she does hair. Like it's super dope. And like I don't
Ah.
even want to like say anything, but I've seen lots of like Instagram or social media accounts of people that do hair, but I think for you, there was like that extra like unique value proposition where you had like the educational piece in it. It wasn't just like, oh, I do hair. It's like, no, but I want to also teach people the like historical context of like black hair and everything like that. So I think that was what
Exactly.
kept me staying. So like maybe you want to like just expand a little bit more on just what was the mission statement and how you want to get across for yourself, but also for people who have never heard about Naya's Coily World.
For sure. So, hair identity in the Black community is a big thing. It's really closely connected to our cultural identity. And I really want this platform to make us rethink how we consider hair beauty because it's so linked to that Eurocentric standard of beauty. Oh, I think I've lost Sean. Oh,
No,
is he
I'm
there?
here. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Okay.
That's TYV doing his magic. Don't worry.
All right. So hair beauty is really so linked to Eurocentric standards of beauty, and I really want us to rethink how we think about hair beauty because that we've internalized what we consider beautiful hair very negatively in the Black community and outside of the Black community. And there's a lot been changing, but there needs to be a lot more. And when you don't fit that mold of what society tells you is beautiful hair, it really impacts how you show up in the world at work, how you send your kids to school, how you look at yourself, and that can impact your mental health and your mental well-being. So Naya's Coily World is really empowering people specifically with coily, kinky, and afro hair textures because I feel as a person with coily, kinky hair, we're often overlooked. We're ignored in pop culture. We're not seen as much. If I try and go and Google a hairstyle, I will not find someone with my hair texture. And that becomes a problem because then I'm looking to get a certain hairstyle, but my hair is not going to look like that because it doesn't mold that way, it doesn't form that way. And so I really want to increase representation and education. And that's what Naya's Coily World is all about. And we're just, empowering children because I really, well, first of all, hair discrimination can be faced as early as age 5. That's a fact. And when we're seeing that the next generation is more empowered to wear their natural hair than in my generation, we want to make sure that they see their hair as a superpower. So that's what Naya is. She's showing them that their hair is a superpower, and she's showing them how to take care of it through practical hair care tips.
Yeah, don't mind me. I'm just plugging in my laptop. I forgot to do it when we got started.
Do you think? Do you think?
Yeah. The history of black hair and everything like that, how it's represented in our society. I mean, there's a lot of things that come into mind. Like I even thought when you were talking, I thought about the word of cultural appropriation. I mean, you have like,
Mm-hmm.
the Eurocentric vision, like trying to replicate our hairstyles and say like, oh wow, like we did this, we did that, and like we've seen it through like through social media, like some celebrities, practicing those same hairstyles, but then they don't have the full understanding of like the history and like where they actually came from and everything like that. So I feel like for you to talk about that like through your business, I think it's super important because again, there's a lot of people who do hair, but I think for you having that educational aspect of it is what really puts you into not only a higher level, but it puts you into different rooms as well because now it's like,
That's
okay,
it.
I don't just have to like do like hair in a salon or like just go to maybe like hair conventions. Like I can be in a more like educational space in an academic institution, and teach these, elements to students, so they have a good understanding. Or maybe I could be at different events that may not even be within my industry, but I have another aspect of what I do and it connects very well. So I think having that in your business model is really great. And again, it kept me interested to learn more about what you do. So I'm glad that I did run into you because I think what you're doing is like very impactful work.
No, thank you. That's really what it is. It's building that awareness in our community and outside our community. I really think it's important to continue this message to create the conversation and make it an open and honest dialogue about hair, Black hair in particular, and that hair diversity should be respected. And people need to understand more about it because I think there's a fear or this fascination even outside our community with our hair because they're not confronted or see it as often enough. And the more awareness there is, the more representation. That's how we can bridge those gaps. So that's really what my platform is trying to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I just want to ask a little follow-up question because you did mention there's like so much different like hair types and everything like that. And you mentioned like when
Mhm.
you were trying to figure out your hair type, it was just so hard to like figure out, because again, some people may have not talked about it, maybe some people have not shared about it that much online. And listen, I know sometimes like I will run into the question of like, hey, like what's my hair type, like I'm very curious, or like I have other people say like, oh, this is my hair type, it's this and that. And then sometimes I'm a little confused with the terminology, because like my understanding of it may not be as deep. It's like, wait, you're saying like 4A, 4B, like what? Wait, what? I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm like, this is, it
Mhm.
sounds like algebra to me, but I want to understand a little bit more. So maybe you could maybe break down some of the more common types that you probably come encounter with maybe some of your clients, or maybe just, I guess, how the terminology kind of works when it comes to the different hair types for black men and black women.
Absolutely. And first of all, shout out to you for even knowing about the hair type system. Like, okay, not all
I
men.
have a twin sister, so by default, I will probably hear it
Oh,
from some.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out Chanel. Shout
Ah,
out to Chanel right now.
nice. Okay, good job, Chanel. So, yeah, so the hair typing system is interesting because it came out to help us sort of classify and categorize our hair and help us to understand even how we choose products for our hair and just help us to better know our hair. However, it's kind of has a stigma now, and not a lot of people subscribe to it anymore because it kind of had more harmful effects. Again, created that negative connotation about hair types that were at the end of the chart. So at the beginning of the chart, we have type 1 hair, which is straight hair, and type 2 is wavy, and type 3 is curly, and type 4 is coily afroed hair. And in between each of those is a ABC. The ABC, we don't need to get into that. But in terms of the tightest textures, 4C would be the most tightest texture. And then even within those, the hair is different. So for example, I think when we look at Black people, when we see representation of Black hair on TV, we're usually in the threes, which is like a looser curl, not quite coily, and it might be more sleek and easily to put in a ponytail. However, people with my type of hair, it's not as easy to put in a ponytail. Our hair grows out more, it has more shrinkage. So you won't see the full length unless it's in a straightened style. And not only that, the differences are some people have finer hair, some people have thicker hair. So there's very nuances in it. And sometimes the hair typing system doesn't do enough justice and creates more harm. So I actually don't subscribe to it anymore since I've seen how it's evolved. But it is a helpful tool just for basic understanding. Like even brands were putting it on their products. Like this is great for type 3 hair, type 4 hair. So it was meant to just make things easier. But in the YouTube world of natural hair, it became like a no-no.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm just kind of taking a look at the comment section right here. We have some fire emojis. We have a comment from
Ah,
Kemba. Our hair is beautiful. It has variety and versatility. You got that right. You got that right. But I feel like even you kind of acknowledging that you don't really, I guess, adapt to that system anymore. It kind of speaks a lot, because for what you do, you would figure like, oh yeah, Venice would probably like be kind of saying that all the time. But it's like I used it to more like, again, have that understanding. But this is not something I really kind of go off of like all the time. So I find that
exactly.
very interesting, especially hearing from you. Like, again, I don't know much. Like, again, like when I hear it, I'm thinking like I don't know like as deep, but even the way you explain it, it does make sense. And like obviously, you again, for a lot of black folks, you kind of reside more within the three levels. So like 3A, 3B, again, a little bit more sleek, but not like as like like coily as like level 4 and everything like that. But I think it's very interesting, because I know based on what your hair type is, then it asks the question, okay, what type of hair products do I need to use? Because if I use something that doesn't work well with my hair, then I may not get the results, or maybe does that impact my hair and everything like that. So it's like little things about knowing your hair type actually
Exactly.
offers a little bit more questions. It's like, okay, like I don't want to get this shampoo. If it does, it's gonna mess up like my roots. Or like if I get this conditioner, or if I use this gel, then it's just not going to like really bring out the richness or the texture of my hair like to what I want it to be. So
Exactly.
there's a lot. So I mean, like again, like I consider you the educator of this conversation. So I'm hoping like when we get deeper on, you let me know. I'm the student in this
I got
conversation.
you. I got you.
Okay, okay. So I do want to go on to the next question and ask you, what are some of the conversations that you do hear from your clients that kind of leave you satisfied with the work that you're doing, but also in addition, makes you want to, address something a little bit more, like a certain topic. So let's say, you've had clients talk about like, like I've been wanting to do like more braids, or like you should probably do more of this type of style because I see lots of people asking about it. Just an example. Obviously, I'm not kind of like insinuating like what it could be, but again, like what are some of the conversations you have had with with previous clients that leave you satisfied with your work, but also makes you want to learn a little bit more and improve your game in what you do?
So, no, that's a great question. So, when I first started braiding, I was doing men and women and children. And then the last 2 years, I'd say I switched to only men just because it was a lot juggling the different hairstyles. And I found I like doing the intricate styles, as I mentioned earlier, and men like different styles like that. Whereas women, it's just like these long 4 hour plus styles for box braids. So, so that being said, men I found are really getting interested in hair care. So for men not being typically part of the beauty space, they are not like some men don't even know the difference between shampoo and conditioner. So, wanting to understand that. And then they see a deep conditioner and they're like, deep conditioner, like when does that come into play? So they have questions. They want to learn. They want to know how often they should take trim. So my feedback, the main feedback I always is trim your hair often, especially if you're braiding it. That's a lot of manipulation on your hair. And you need to make sure your ends are not breaking and crawling up to the top of your roots. And then your hair is not really growing, or it's growing, but it's not retaining length. And so those are really the conversations I have, that they walk away more empowered about their hair care knowledge than before. But I do want to say that as a braider, I am not a licensed stylist. I do not know the fundamentals of hair. And so one thing through my platform is connecting people to those stylists in our community. And I'm going to be releasing more stuff with that on my Instagram soon. But that's one thing that I really found, that people had a lot of questions for me. And I'm very upfront saying I'm a braider. I know so much from my own experiential knowledge, but you need to find a texture stylist who can support you in your questions. So that's where I go with it.
All right, then. Is that something, let's say, being a licensed stylist, that you probably consider of, or do you still try to utilize some of the resources that you have around you to help people with questions that you may not know like the full answer to, or maybe like the full knowledge to?
I definitely, for now, because I am scaling back on the braidings to continue push more of the book. So yeah, I push them to the resources in the community as opposed to wanting to up my own skills.
Okay, very interesting. It's very interesting that you mentioned that it's more men now that are coming to
Yes.
you. So it's like, all right, I like that. I like that. Especially,
Hmm.
again, there's a lot of men who are now being a little bit more cognizant in terms of like their hair and just like how they treat themselves as well. It's not just like their hair, their own self care, and just like how they're grooming and
Exactly.
everything like that. So like it's good to know that you have like such a unique audience. And maybe like correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like with most like people who work in like braiding or styling, like it's mostly like a female like dominant like
Usually,
demographic
yeah.
usually. So I mean, to know that for you, it's like, nah, I got the mandem on my side for this one. So like,
That's 100%. And the men are loyal and they come like every 2 weeks. Like they want their braids neat. So they're back on a rotation, and it's really quite nice to see. So yeah.
that's beautiful to see. Have you ever thought about expanding, like, I guess, or even starting a team and like having other people come on board? Or are you still kind of like, you have this, but you also, like you mentioned, you have the book, you're kind of putting the pieces together. So you're not, maybe you have the thought about a team, but you're not ready to go and put that plan into action yet?
Earlier on, I did think about that. I have a friend who braids really well, and I'm like, we could split our hours and work together, but it never worked out that way. But now, no, I will definitely be scaling back and yeah, focusing more on this book and scaling that.
Yeah, sometimes like when you get into a certain avenue and now you have to like put that time and priority to it, you gotta like push some things on the side, be like, all right, like I'm gonna get back to it, but like I have to, set my things straight,
Exactly. Yeah,
So
balance, balance.
balance. Yeah, that's the word right there, ladies and gentlemen. Balance. Okay, I love that. Speaking of your book, let's actually get into your book. What inspired you to start your book in the first place? Because that was something that when I did discovery for the first time, I'm like, oh, like she's an author too. I'm like, okay, so she braids hair and she's an author. I'm like, okay, like. Well, all right, Venise, like do you. But like I wanted to know a little bit more into like where did that inspiration come in and say, okay, I'm now like having clients, which is great, but now like I want to write a book and I want this to bring a little bit of purpose and meaning because like it's not like a guidebook or saying like, oh, this is how you do this. Like, no, there's an actual like context from what I see. And again, like I didn't get the chance to like fully read it. And I should have honestly I should have bought a book from you when we were at the
No
Black Friday.
worries.
So that's on me. That is on me.
No
But
worries.
yeah, like just how did the book get started? What was your motivation and just how did it all plan out?
Oh, that's a great question. So, so many things. So, first of all, I love the hair space. So, when I returned to my natural hair, I was absorbed in YouTube. Like, I wanted to know everything about hair. And I'm like, am I going to be a YouTuber? Like, I just didn't know. I just wanted to be in the hair space. So then I started braiding and I'm like, okay, this is it. And then I would, do stuff on social media, post my braiding, and I was enjoying that. And then I was learning so much from my clients about their issues with like hair care and even just simple things. I realized like people just don't know about their hair. And so those conversations were happening and I'm just keeping in the back of my head, like, yeah, like I really want people. So then I would like post more educational stuff on my social media. And then it was actually my sister who gave me the idea. She's like, you like art, you like this hair space. Why not put it together in a children's book? And I'm like, yes. So I literally wrote the book that same day. And I hadn't picked up any sort of painting or anything in like years. And I illustrated the book. So I started like literally sketching it and then had to learn watercolor. I hadn't done that ever and learned how to watercolor and then hired a graphic designer to put it in like a digital format and something that could be printed because I didn't know what to do once I had it on paper. So she did all that, made it look cleaner, put it in like a book format. And that's really how it came together. So it was a series of things happening in my experience around hair and loving this area and wanting to share and support people. So the book really, Naya goes through her wash day with her mom. So she's learning about her hair in the story. And then at the back of the book, it has a glossary of terms and each term has a tip. So it might talk about protective styles. And then it has a tip about, proper detective styling. Not all protective styles are equal. Not all of them are really protecting your hair. So it'll give tips about that. It'll talk about using the right material to dry your hair. Towels actually create a lot of friction and can create breakage in your hair. So it says use a microfiber towel. So the book is really funneling education in a very fun way. And it's all through just my experiences with hair.
Wow, that's very interesting. The one thing that like caught me off guard for a bit, you said like once you got the idea from your sister and then say, okay, let me start the book. You say you started that exact same day.
Yeah, I started writing and I'm like, I was so like, yeah, let's do this. I was geared up.
That's amazing. Honestly, if I told myself, okay, let's write a book, I would have to take a couple of days just to like process everything. Like, okay, all right, let me. The fact that you like, all right, let's go.
Let's do
Bada
it.
bing,
I mean,
bada boom.
I didn't finish it the same day, but I started it. I started the narrative and then I think within 3 days I finished it.
That's still impressive. You finish a book in 3 I don't care what I don't care if it's like a children's book or like a whole novel. Finishing a book in 3 days, that's impressive.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank
Of
you.
course, of course. And I mean, again, it's all worked out, again, based on just everything in terms of just like how everything's planned out. Again, like I mentioned, you had some of your books on sale at the All Black Market Black Friday event. We got the wow commented. Yes, again, like that's
Ah.
impressive. 3 days, guys. I don't know if I could even like finish like a 500-word essay in 3 days or anything like that. But if you gave me like proper time and preparation, so again, that's really impressive. But again, like it goes to show that you had this idea, you had a good support system, whether it was your family or an inner
Exactly.
circle. It allowed you to put this together, and it's reaping the benefits. So that's good to see.
Exactly. No, it's been quite a fun journey.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Again, for people who are tuning in, thank you for tuning into the Safe Room here on Love Bay Radio. We're here with our guest, Miss Venesse Lewis, the founder of Coily World. And we have been having a really good conversation. We talked a little bit about your business, Venesse. We talked a little bit about black hair to an extent. We talked about some hair types, just how, you got started, how everything has kind of folded out. But I do want to kind of double back because you did mention at the beginning of your answer for the last question I asked how you you kind of switched back to your natural like hair, your natural state. So like and again, this is like if you're comfortable asking this question, like what were you doing before that
Of
made you say,
course.
okay, you know what, it's like I can't keep doing this. I gotta go back to natural. I can't be doing, what I'm doing right now. Like what were you doing before? Because like, I know there's lots of like females who probably take like certain products and maybe, it's just like it doesn't allow them to show their natural hair all the time. Or maybe it's like there's certain chemicals in it. I'm just a little bit curious, just like what made you want to like make that immediate switch?
Absolutely. So it was really by accident in the sense that I hadn't planned to, it wasn't on my mind, it was nowhere near something I had intended to do. I had been straightening my hair since I was like, I don't know, 10, 11. Sorry, chemically straightening it, so perming it, relaxing it. And there was a point where I just was braiding my hair back to back. So I was like, well, if I'm just braiding it, I don't really need to relax it because like nobody's seeing my hair. So I was just braiding it back to back for like literally like 2 years. And then I'm like, as I took it out, I'm like, hold on, I have all this new growth. Do I perm it or do I just grow out my hair? And I thought about it for a while. And that's when I jumped on YouTube to see like, what is natural hair? Because like I really didn't know. I was like clueless and what it would take. And then I got so empowered by seeing all these Black women who grew out their natural hair, and it was the healthiest it ever been. I had struggled my whole life with hair that was breaking all the time because of the relaxer. I didn't know how to take care of it, and it was just a constant battle of it, like just breaking and looking terrible. And that's basically why I was braiding it. So when I saw that natural hair could be so beautiful, I was like, we are switching up. This has changed the game. We are switching up. And so that's really what it was. So I just after that I took out the braids and chopped off the dead straightened ends and let it grow out from there.
Yeah, that's very interesting. You mentioned how like it was by accident, like you kind of again you were straightening your hair, doing the perm, and then you just noticed there was new growth, and you thought, like, do I want to like keep permanent or do I want to just like remove it? And then it's like you gotta go to YouTube. Like once you don't know the answer to something, you go to YouTube.
100%. Yeah, YouTube
Yeah.
is my friend.
Yeah, we got people in the comments saying same exactly. Like we listen,
Ah,
we can all relate. Like we can kind of all relate to for all the females listening. You guys can probably talk about that. But another question that just came in my head is that what you noticing at a very young age, like 10, 11, and then wanting to say like, okay, I want to go natural. Do you feel like you try to, I guess, teach that with maybe like other like parents who have children or anyone who's a client who has a kid that's probably doing their hair, do you try to kind of teach them or kind of let them know about the importance of, having natural hair and like keeping that for such at a young age or maybe not using perm like for a long period of time? I guess that's what I'm trying to kind of get across. I'm not trying to get my words mixed up or like convoluted, so I'm trying to be very careful. But I guess like,
I get you.
yeah, okay, perfect, perfect.
No, absolutely. So, yeah, so I had a lot of children clients, and most people now, I don't think there's very few of them that relax hair, and I think we've learned a lot about the side effects from perms and relaxers on our health, especially as women in a reproduction. So there's been some studies in showing how it can be quite detrimental to us. So it's really good to see that parents are growing their children's hair natural. It does require a little bit more work and patience, especially for young kids. Because they have thicker hair, more hair. And so parents are often wanting to put their hair in braids and stuff. But yeah, no, I definitely encourage it, and just like empowering the kids to like see the beauty of their hair, like really love it. Like I love when the little girls are wearing beads, and like you can't tell them nothing once they got those beads in their hair. They know their hair is beautiful. So just giving them ways to feel empowered, whether it's ribbons or bows, they love it. The process of getting their hair done. But yeah, definitely want to make them feel empowered to love their hair.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know I mentioned before like, the culture appropriation, but there's also like culture appreciation, but also again, like you mentioned, appreciating your natural hair. And I feel like that's a very like complex conversation itself as well, because it's not only just appreciating your hair for like on your own aspect, but also, towards society. Because again, sometimes depending in the spaces that we are in, or the people we hang around. Maybe for some people they feel a little bit intimidated to rock their natural hair. Like, I feel like, again, I don't want to generalize, but maybe for some people it's just like, I can't go in a certain room and, let's say, I have an afro and just kind of show it out, because maybe to some people that might be too loud and too brash. It's like,
Mhm.
oh man, like
Mhm.
you're too black. Like what are you doing? So it's just like,
Yes.
you need to tone it down. But then, like, when do we draw the line on that? And like, when do we actually just call it spade a spade? It's like, what really is wrong with that? So I mean, like, I feel that's kind of where I'm going into, this next question. And just like, what qualities of your hair, like, did you really love to share with people? And just any encounters that you had, like, was there any that were like super positive? It's like, oh wow, I really love your hair. But then also, were there encounters where like you feel like they were trying to say something in a positive light, but it was not coming off that way, it was very misconstrued, or like you feel like they didn't understand just like the essence of like what your hair meant and everything like that? Could you probably talk about some incidents or maybe encounters that you had in your past?
Sure. So, when I went natural, my community was really, really supportive. Like, I remember going to like my first event and I did a twist out, and like I didn't know what people were gonna say, or like what the expectation was gonna be, because it was my first time coming outside with my new hair, and I felt so good. Like, not that you need validation, but the validation made me feel so good. Like, my friends were just like, "I love your hair. Oh my god, it's so cute." And from there, I was just like, "Yeah, I'm good." And that's within my community. So outside my community, though, it's a different story. Like, I work, I have a corporate full-time job, and I'm still afraid to this day to wear my hair in certain styles. Like, I always think I'm going to be distracting. Is it tasteful enough? Is it professional? And a lot of it is internalized in my head. Like, are they really going to have a problem if I wear my hair in a fro? But it's what it is for me is, it's one, they don't say anything at all, which is like, I just came in my hair completely different today, and you're not even going to mention like my hair. So to me, it's like you're too afraid to say anything that you say nothing at all. So it's just like, that's a problem in itself to me, because I know what you're thinking in your head, and you can see it in their eyes. Like when you walk in the room and they're just like, and they just like, you can just see that they're having a reaction. They don't know how to. So for me, I'm just like, forget it. I don't even want to deal with all that. So my hair is always really, really put tamed at work, and it's still a struggle for me. Like, I haven't figured that out. And even I'm on this whole journey of self discovery and empowerment. It's still an ongoing journey for me, and I'm not afraid to admit that. Like, it's going to be a process.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. It's kind of like a double-edged sword, because like you mentioned, like, let's say you were to rock like your natural hair and like whatever style you want it to be, and then like you have that little one side of your brain saying like, I know you guys want to say something, but you're trying to like keep the peace and make sure like we don't start any trouble. But it's also kind of like, am I just thinking this because it's kind of become a norm and there's a certain mentality that I have to always keep beside myself, knowing that they're gonna say something bad, but really, let's say it's like, I got really nothing bad to say. Like, you're wearing your hair like
Yeah,
that, it's
yeah,
cool, So like, it's very like, it's conflicted, because it's not that we're wrong to
yes,
have that thought, but it's also kind of like, there could just be some people like, I like your hair. I got nothing
yeah.
else to say. I don't really have
That's
any like snarky
it's
comments.
true. They just
Yeah.
yeah, and I won't know that until I confront that. So I need to take the onus on that. But it's a work in progress.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of like having like a right discretion based on like certain scenarios and kind of assessing it a certain
Exactly.
way. Now, of course, there are moments where people will kind of do a little bit too much, and I feel like for anyone who's listening right now, you're gonna resonate what I'm about to say. You got those people are like, "Oh my god, can I touch your hair? It's so nice." It's just, when are we on a
I
why are we on a physical contact with the hair? Like, I don't understand. I'm a little confused.
exactly. Exactly. And I had that back at a previous job where an employer, a person of authority, he was a lawyer actually, came and just touched my bun. And I was just like, I didn't even know how to react to that, because like what are you doing? And like, my hair, you're, first of all, you're violating my personal space. And my hair is a part of my body. You wouldn't come and just hold my hand or touch my arm or hit my leg. So why are you touching my hair? And like, that's the part that kind of just pisses me off, quite frankly, because like, why is this so brand new to you guys? Like, wake up. Black people have been having this black hair for ages. Like, why are you so brand new? Go search it on Google, look up YouTube. Don't be touching my hair. Or like find some black friends who are you're comfortable with, you can have those conversations with. But like, don't approach me at work and touch my bun. It was
Honestly, I
like,
don't know. I
what?
don't know if there's any black person that would be comfortable. Like, yeah, you could just touch my hair free. Well, I don't know. Again, I don't want to generalize, but I feel like 9 times out of 10, if someone just walks up and touches my hair, we're gonna have a problem. It's just like, wait, what are we doing? Again, it's like you even like you mentioned, it's just you're invading, my personal space and everything like that, and that becomes a problem. And I feel like for me,
Exactly.
you ask yourself, like, again, where does this end? Like, when do we eventually have to address this where it doesn't become awkward, but it's just like you can't just be going around and touching my hair. And then like you mentioned, like it's just go find someone else who is okay with that. Or maybe they get the thought of like, oh, because this person's doing that, I should do the exact same thing. And that's where it's like you get into the sticky like scenarios of like cultural appropriation. You see celebrities do this. Like, what was it? I think it was like the Kim K incident with
Oh my goodness.
that everyone was talking about it. That was a huge topic point, but people are like, oh, no, no, no. Like, she wasn't trying to disrespect, she was just trying to say this and that. But then again, like, it's all about the knowledge, the educational aspect. And I feel like for you, that you try to implement with your own business, I think that's super important.
Absolutely. Not only that, it's the knowledge, the history behind it, and what the hairstyle means, or how it's important to us. But it's just giving credit. Like, what happens is they'll go and wear our hairstyle, and it looks different on their hair type, and it's acceptable and it's cute and it's sexy on them. But if I wear it with my hair type that frizzes up or it doesn't mold the same way it looks on them, it's like, oh, this is this brand new thing that I'm trying out, and like, I'm killing it. But like, I've been doing that, but you're not giving me the credit for this hairstyle you stole off of me. So it's really about giving credit to the original people who've been wearing that style.
Yeah, it's like you mentioned, the credibility aspect is super important. Again, this is not really to like shun anyone here who's listening, but I think it's just like having a very open and honest conversation. Because I mean, like,
Absolutely.
I guarantee you too, like, I guarantee there are probably a lot of black folks who have these conversations, but sometimes it's behind closed doors, which I mean, it's totally
Absolutely.
fine. But I think sometimes it's good to always, address it out loud, just to say it and just be like, okay, like, we acknowledge it. We're not just kind of like saying it like hush hush, like on the side, like you're feeling what I'm feeling as well. And like, sometimes we need to have those conversations. And, I mean,
For
like
sure.
personally, like I see stuff like this and sometimes I have my own judgment. I'll keep quiet. Sometimes I'll talk it out with someone. Maybe I'll just keep it to myself. But I think, having a space like the safe room, it's allowing not only to, talk about the positives, but also talk about some of the things that are just like certain pain points and other things that need to be just, fully open and fully discussed.
Absolutely. 100.
So I do want to continue on the education aspect and everything like that. So I know you did kind of talk about just the different ways you try to educate, different individuals. But I guess another question I want to ask is like, what other spaces or avenues have you tried to facilitate these conversations? Has it just been more on like just client work? Have you tried, doing like workshops and seminars? I'm assuming in like different academic institutions. I know I mentioned at the beginning, like, do you try to do this in like in schools and try to like go there and talk to students and everything like that?
Yeah. So I have been to libraries, schools, and I've had two workshops, and that's part of my platform too. Is I want to continue to create a community that has workshops. I'm actually looking to do another one, hopefully this year, if not next year. But the intention of my workshop is always to bring the hair empowerment piece. So have a texture stylist so that people are aware there's this resource in the community wherever they live. And then some sort of fun component. So it's like hair and fun. So I've had two. One was with my book launch, but it was more of a workshop style as well, where we had a stylist come and talk, and she demoed hair. She talked about products and what tools to use. It was really great. Like, everyone was so keen and asking so many questions. And then another workshop, I actually partnered with some other another book author and another brand who works with Black dolls, and so that was really nice collaboration. But the schools have been really nice. Like, that experience, I remember my first one, I was just speechless on how well the book was received by the children. Just this one little girl at the end of it, she just like got up and came and hugged me, and to me, she just like felt so seen and heard in the words, like. And that's why I say representation is so powerful, because you need to be around people and see people that look like you doing things, because it can really hurt your self-esteem when you feel alone or like other, and otherness is really a challenge for Black people. And so we need, yeah, I can just see that the book has been really great, well received in the schools. And then I've also been at two libraries in the Durham area, and just hoping to continue to do some more.
Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. Hearing that you had a little child come and hug you, or a student, whatever. I mean, that's when you know like you're doing really impactful work that really speaks to not
Yes.
just the community, but it speaks to yourself. Because I think we all get that same type of impression of like what I'm doing. Is it actually valuable or meaningful? Is this something that can actually, have something to be proud of. So I feel like you saying that it's making me proud of you, just knowing like, man, like, yeah, Venice, like you're doing your thing and like you're making a huge impact, and it's great to see. Because sometimes we always need to hear that little like just motivation. I think in the last couple of weeks I've had people literally message me privately saying like, Sean, you're doing a great job, and like it's stuff
Mm,
like that makes me happy, but it allows to me to know like, okay, I'm doing something good. And I know for you, you have moments
exactly.
like that. So I love that. I love that for you.
Yeah, no, it's been really nice.
Of course, of course. Okay, I want to try to do like sort of a role play situation. This one's gonna be a little bit hard to do because most of the time I know how to handle these things, but this one's a little bit tough. So I'm gonna try my best, ladies and gentlemen. But let's say I'm a client coming up to you, and I'm just trying to figure out like what hairstyle I should go for, or like what works best for me. So I guess like let's try to do a little role play exercise. Like let's just pretend like you don't know me. I'm just a random person. You do not know Shon Williams, okay? And let's just pretend like we're having like a one-on-one conversation, all right?
I'm down.
Okay, so let me start. Hey, Venice. So I saw you online, and I noticed that you do braiding for, especially for men, which is really great. But I'm kind of stuck in between on what style I want to get, because like I'm not really sure like what would fit me well. I'm trying to get ready for a very big event that's coming up. So I mean, do you have like any tips, or is there anything I need to share with you for you to get like a better understanding of what I would need?
For sure. So first, I would want to ask you, what's your maintenance style like? Like, are you a high maintenance person or low maintenance? Meaning, are you going to wear do rags at night to keep your hairstyle? Are you planning to keep this hairstyle longer than the event, or is this just a one-time thing? And like, what's your pain threshold? Like, are you new to braiding completely, and like this is like brand new to you? Because that would require me to be a little bit more patient with you. So let me hear some more. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm definitely high maintenance, so I definitely want to keep this style like after this event I'm
Okay.
heading to. So like this is something I just want to like, look very professional, very profound for, but I definitely want to keep it afterwards. I want to make sure that I'm treating it properly. And in terms of pain threshold, this is the first time I'm doing this, so like I don't know like
Ooh.
what the experience is gonna be. So I mean, like that's something I'm a little like skeptical, not on your end, but just for myself.
Okay. No, that's fair. So definitely going to be extra careful with you. It just means your appointment might take a little bit longer. Um, and two, another thing is, do you have any like hair inspiration? Like when you look at maybe a basketball player or any men that you know that wears their hair, do you like the straight backs, or do you like a style?
Mm. I probably would say like the straight backs. I can't really think of like any NBA players right now. I'm more of a football type of person, if you ask me.
Oh,
But
okay,
I
okay.
mean, but I'm glad that you asked that. But I like more of like the straight back. I think that kind of fits me well a little bit more.
Okay. So then I think I would suggest about 4 to 8 braids for you. Sorry, 6 to 8 braids, since you said you're going to keep care of it properly, and you were looking for something professional. So I would do 6 to 8 braids, and then I would just double check your length is at least 4 inches all around. Sometimes men who are new come to me and they don't realize that their hair needs to be 4 inches all around. Like sometimes you were cutting your hair a certain way and the sides are shorter than the top. So definitely want to check that out for you. But I think 6 to 8 braids straight back would be good. We could either do it coming from a point going that way, or we could just do it going like literally straight back. So I'll give you some options. I'll show you some pictures, but that's what I would offer.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So, if I want to set all this up, is this like, do you have a spot that you own? Would I have to like meet up with you like one on one, like at your house? Like, how would I be able to like get all this done? Like, would I have to meet up with you somewhere?
Yeah, so I'm a basement braider, so I have a full-on deck salon in the basement.
Okay, okay, that's super dope. I
Hmm.
always like the little kind of cozy vibes. I feel like I'm
Right?
super
I got my
excited.
TV for you. I got snacks for you. Everything you need.
Okay, perfect, perfect. All right. And for your prices, is this something that I could probably see like on your website, or is it more just like I have to kind of like show up and just kind of like get it done and just kind of go from there?
Yes, so there's all a booking link for it.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, Venice, I think I'm definitely gonna book you in. I have this event coming up in the next 2 weeks, so I definitely want to get it done very, very soon. Let's say maybe this upcoming Saturday, if you're free, whatever time slot, I'm definitely down for.
All right, sounds good. You're booked in.
Okay, perfect. All right, scene. Yeah, yeah. So that's a little one-on-one role play. Listen, I've always wanted to do like acting and drama. Like I used to do it a lot in high school. So I mean, like I feel like this is where like the inspiration came from for all this role play stuff. But
I
you did
love
a
it.
great job too. You did a great job too. I feel like hold on. We have author of our own book. We
Hmm.
have braider. We have someone who does an art and drawing and possibly actor. I mean, that's four great talents, Venice. I mean,
Listen, I bring it all.
I love that. I love that. Well, that's all the main stuff, but I do have something a little bit fun. I have one more thing I want to do. I had a little something tucked under my sleeve.
Okay, okay.
So for anyone who knows, if you have reached to this point, thank you. I appreciate that. For people who are just hopping on right now, you are listening to the Safe Room here on Love Bay Radio. We're here with our guest, Miss Venesse Lewis. We have talked about her business. We talked about black hair in all different aspects. It's been a wonderful conversation. Now we're just wrapping up with our little fun activity. And sometimes with these activities, you never know. It's a hit or miss. So we have to kind of see what's gonna happen. But for this round, I want to do a little game of underrated, overrated, or perfectly rated.
Ooh.
It's very, very simple. I'm just going to list, a different, hairstyle, what someone would do to style their hair. And you just have to say if it's underrated, overrated, or perfectly rated. But I want to make it a little bit more, I guess, specific and niche because I feel like for you, you might I don't know if you're gonna say everything underrated because I can understand from your aspect, it's like everything is underrated, Sean. I mean, come on, but I want to kind of switch it up. So I'm gonna paint a scenario. So I want you to choose if this hairstyle is underrated, overrated, or perfectly rated. If you were heading out to a like basically like a club, head into the
Okay,
club.
I like
You're
this question.
party out with your friends. You're going out with this hairstyle. Would it be underrated, overrated, or perfectly rated based on heading to the club? Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the first one I have here is jumbo twist. Are they underrated, overrated, or perfectly rated for like the club setting?
I'd say that's perfectly rated.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I think it's
right.
a good style. Yeah, yeah.
Have you
No,
have you
no issues there.
Okay, okay. Have you seen any people that you may know or maybe like have rocked that style before?
The jumbo twists were really big a few years ago. Right now, it's more of the smaller twist with the goddess. I forget. It's more like a bohemian style. I can't remember what it's called. But still, you
Mm-hmm.
can't go wrong with some jumbo twists.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. That's a interesting answer. I like that. I like that. Okay, going on to the next one. The braided ponytail. Is it underrated, overrated, or perfectly rated for the club setting?
I mean, it could work for the club setting, but like you want to go somewhere else with a braided ponytail, like more than the club. Like that's a cute style. So overrated.
Okay, okay. All right. All right. That's fair. That's fair. Again, like and just to let you guys know, we're not taking any shots at the hairstyles, okay? So please don't come after me. All right. This is all fun. Okay. All right. Um, and it's so funny that you mentioned Goddess Locks because that was literally my last one I was gonna share. The
Ah!
Goddess Locks. So underrated, overrated, perfectly rated. What is it gonna be?
Oh, that's perfect. Like, oof, you can't go wrong. That style is it right now.
Yeah, it's like you read my mind for a second. I'm like, is she a mind reader now? I'm like, Venesse, you're doing too much talents on the show. What's going on?
Sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Okay, so jumbo twist, we had perfectly rated, we had braided ponytail, we had overrated, and then we had goddess locks perfectly rated. Okay, so again, nothing underrated. It's like, we're not underrated
Mhm.
anything here, Sean. Everything is getting its love, or it's like, I don't know. It's a little
Yeah,
questionable.
yeah.
Okay, all right. That was simple. That was simple, but I'm not done. I have another little activity. This one, like, I'm kind of putting a spin on it. So if people have heard of the game Kill, Marry, or Kiss, Marry, Kill, whatever the order is, I decided to do a little bit something different, and I'm calling it Keep, Style, or Delete.
Ooh,
So what this means, it's like the keep is basically like that's your like everyday, like normal, like hairstyle, right? And then the style would be something like, let's say you were only to get this style for like special events or like special occasions.
I like this.
And then the delete's basically like, yeah, I would delete this. Like I would never do this style ever.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
with you.
Okay. So just want to make sure I'm pulling these up. I sometimes I'd be losing my notes and I don't want to. Okay, here we go. So for the first round, we have Bantu knots, pigtail braids, and stitch braids. So you have to pick one
Ooh,
of the three to keep, one of the three to style, and one of the three to delete. So again, Bantu knots, pigtail braids, and stitch braids.
pigtail delete.
Okay.
The other two are tough because I'd say stitch for keep and bantu for style.
Okay. And you're not a fan of pigtail braids that much?
Not for me. Like it's cute on other people, but not for me.
That's okay. All right. It's okay. It's your choice. No problem. Okay. Have you ever done Bantu knots before? Is that something you ever done for your clients?
I haven't done it on clients. I tried on myself and it wasn't great, so that never became a service offering.
It's like if I can't do it, yeah, I'm not gonna put the trust in
No,
like
no.
anyone
But
else.
I love them. They're so pretty. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Okay, so that's round one. Round two, we have the classic bun. You gotta go with a classic bun, cornrows, and box braids. So, which one are you keeping? Which one are you styling? And which one are you deleting?
Box braids were keeping. Like that was my go-to. Bun, I don't really do buns, to be honest.
Mm,
So I'm gonna have to delete that. And then the other one was cornrows.
yes.
Yeah, no, let's keep bun for style and cornrows for delete. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting. Because I thought you were kind of leading like, yeah, we can get rid of the bun, but it's like, I think we're gonna do a little switch. We're gonna style. Yeah,
Yeah,
all
what
right.
was I thinking? I had to switch that up. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Have you done like is that like what would you say of the three is like the most common style you've done for clients?
Definitely cornrows lately. Box braids used to be a big thing for me probably 2 years ago, but since like it just went to men, yeah, cornrows are the staple.
And you picked the cornrows to delete, right?
Yes, because I was thinking about for myself.
Yeah, it's like what? I've done it for a lot of like men, and it's like I'm kind of getting tired of it. I don't want to like I just get it right out of it. Get it out of my life.
God.
Okay. All right. This is the last round. The last round. So we have the afro, we
Mhm.
have the faux locks, and then we have the French curl braids.
Oh,
This one's a sticky one.
say it again. Afro.
Yeah, afro. We have the faux locks. I think that's pronouncing it. Faux, FAUX, faux locks,
Yep.
and then the French curl braids.
Okay, let's get rid of the French curl braids. Do it.
Okay, it's like
And keep the faux locks for a keep. And
mhm.
style will be the afro.
Okay.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Because we're trying to say afros can be for the wedding, they can be for that amazing event. Okay, they can style you up.
I like that. You very like thought that through. It's like like we can definitely use the afro and like different like cards of like how we want to style it for this and that.
Exactly.
I like that. I like that. This one was a very strategic round. You're like, all right, I'm gonna make sure
Uh-huh.
everything makes sense. Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right, I like that. I like that. And then you got the French curls delete. So not a fan of French curls
To be
braids.
honest, I don't think I know that one. I'm gonna have to Google that. They keep
Okay.
coming up with so many different names for stuff. I'm not up on that
Okay. I,
term. Yeah.
I think I just put you on. Okay.
You did. You did.
Okay, all right. I like it. I like it. Well, yeah, those are everything I have for today. So, Venesse, thank you so much for coming on the Safe Room. Appreciate your time, the knowledge that you dropped. It was a fabulous conversation.
Agreed. Thank you for having me. And like you actually know a lot. You acted like you didn't, but you know your
No,
stuff.
I try. I really try. But I appreciate that. Where can people find you on social media?
At Naya's Coily World.
Okay, perfect. Just on Instagram?
Yes, sorry, on Instagram or on my website, www.nayascoilyworld.ca.
All right, perfect, perfect. Yeah, for anyone who's in Toronto, definitely tap in with Venesse. And for all the men listening, listen. Here's your next braiders is right in front of me right there. Like, listen, just like for all the people, I understand you might have your barbers and everybody else. Like, listen, just it's okay. You can leave them. You can go to Venesse, just she'll get you done. She'll get you right. All right.
Thanks,
Um
Shon.
of course, of course. And thank you to everyone who has listened from start to finish to another episode of The Safe Room. You could check us out on Instagram at The Safe Room Official. You can head to our website, thesaferoom.ca. We have just launched a new service that we're doing, a video business plan. So to any entrepreneur, business owner here in Toronto, if you have a business plan and you want to take it to the next level, we will do a 30-minute interview with you, and it will be in the form of a business plan and just in video format. I mean, you can't say no to that. You can't say no to that. So if you want more detail, again, head to our website, thesaferoom.ca. You will see it there on the homepage. And yeah, we will hook you guys up. But until then, make sure you guys tune in next week to your favorite show on Love Bay Radio. Until then, we'll see you guys next time.